Well, it's time for spooky things thrown amok again, or it's past already because I thought I could get this done in time, and yeah, things can happen. We won't be dipping into complete horror, but I'll make up for it next time. The DishWasher Vampire Smiles is, if I'm remembering right, the first indie game I ever played, and that alone gave me enough reason to do this. There is a first game, but I don't think you can get it anymore, and that would also mean trying to bring my poor 360 back from resting peacefully to the hellscape we call 2022, and that would just be cruel. Ska Studios was a dev that made their name doing those kind of games during the early Xbox arcade days, back when they used points cards before finally switching to actual money, because anyone remembering those days remember it was bullshit. Doing some research, the first game won Microsoft's 2007 Dream Build Play Game Dev contest. That got them a publishing deal and won them 10 grand. Damn. Looking at what came out of it, yeah, it's easy to see why it's won. A 2D imitation of Devil May Cry, but with just a touch of edginess so it doesn't come off as trying too hard. Cough, cough. The gist was, you are a nameless protagonist, because of course you are, but go by the DishWasher. You were killed to become another cyborg soldier, you know, more meat for the meat grinder, but got saved by Chef. He transfused you with alien blood that resurrected you into a vampire. Not the sparkle in the sun kind, the rip and tear kind. I'll save talking about the story for now, because there's not much in the first game anyway, so I'll just tie it with the second. The first game had a good foundation, but seemed like it was missing something. I think with the sequel they found what they were looking for. They 100% completely embraced being edgy as fuck, and in ways that got quite a laugh out of me. That out of the way, let's begin. You begin a fight against a masked assassin. Of course you cut them down, but then you realize it was your sister, Yuki. It was apparently a big point in the first game about you killing her and freeing her, but she survived. She, like everyone else, tried to escape to the moon, but got caught and blamed for the Earth taking a napalm spa day. They threw her in jail, and that's where things kick off. You're on board a space prison orbiting the moon, and sadly, it's nap time. You wake up, and it's time to embrace violence, the only solution that matters now. Playing this again, I can't believe I forgot how brutal some of the finishing animations are. They used a more muted color palette, and it really brings out the carnage you're causing. You fight your way through, get a dash, and finally get an actual weapon. It's a shame you don't get to use your bare hands as a weapon, but it makes sense. You discuss your release with the warden, but he wants something for payment. One more nightmare sequence, and that's the prologue. After that, you can choose to play as Yuki, the prisoner, or the DishWasher. If it's your first time through, play as Yuki. It gives you more context for everything, because the DishWasher feels like a follow-up to her playthrough anyway. Gameplay-wise, like I said, it's a 2D Devil May Cry inspired beat-em-up. You don't get the arsenal of those games, but what you get's more quality over quantity. That being said, it is quite a jump going from a normal katana, and then the first weapon you're getting is totally not a weapon used by anyone else ever, I promise. Yeah, you still get more mundane weapons like a sickle, but then you get the giant syringe and you make them go. Your new friend the chainsaw lets you let your inner Doomslayer out, and sadly the chain gun is a bit of a flop. But then you get the shotgun attachment and everything's okay now. While Yuki isn't the same as her brother, you find out she also has something making her a bit more special now with blood magic. The first spell didn't really set my world on fire, and then you get steel magic and... oh yeah, that's the good shit. The other spells are still good, it's just they don't paint rooms like this, so you can guess my favorite. Sadly, the DishWasher does have the same magic you get. He does get more interesting weapons, though. Yeah, he starts with a sword too, and a pair of cleavers, oh my goodness. But then you get the goddamn violence hammer. A steel girder, wrapped in barbed wire and other sharp things, and don't worry, you get even edgier weapons than that, and no, I'm not talking about the giant scissors that you dual wield. And to those wondering, yes, we will be seeing them again, I promise you. What I'm talking about is the Decantostre. It took me a bit to actually understand what the weapon is, but man, I could not express how hard I was laughing. So my only question now is, on top of murder, can we also count this as assisted suicide? Weaving in between enemies, picking out targets, and leaving rooms just soaked red to the point they'll have to demolish the building to get rid of the stains. Oh, it's joy. Does it get hard? Yes. It takes a bit to adjust to the flow and how it can become a visual mess at points, but man, when it clicks and you just start playing on autopilot, it is so goddamn fun. And yes, the bosses can be just as good. I forgot about corpse space. How the hell did I forget about this goddamn thing? And even with its pure focus on combat, it still knows how to mix things up. I mean, for God's sake, they put a Guitar Hero minigame in, and yeah, it's fantastic, but I'll save that for last. Speaking of the music, of course it's all good too. The cutscene music being that smooth tension builder as the story gets going, the different combat music that just gets you going and you just don't want it to stop, the boss theme that lets you know you're in for some shit, and the fucking final boss theme that I'm not gonna spoil because it's worth playing alone just for that. And of course, even the credits is great too for its music. It is a bit strange seeing the devs thank God after playing this, but hey, who am I to argue? I think that only leaves the story, and I'll be honest, you could just skip it, but it's really not bad either. If you don't want to be spoiled, skip ahead to here. Alright, let's start with the first game then. The dishwasher was literally just that, a dishwasher, an employee of the Foghorn Cafe before everything hit the fan. Him and his sister are orphans because mid-2000s game, enough said, and went to the cyborgs because if flesh can't give you happiness, try fucking a toaster, I guess. He kept looking into it, and you know how that ended. All of the converted are controlled by a soul-stealing AI, and you go take care of it. But the AI isn't the root of all evil, but a being called the First Engineer, the builder of misery, designer of chaos, constructor of lies, etc., etc. Chef comes back to help you kill it, and now let's get back to where we left off. Yuki wants to get revenge on the three that had her thrown in prison, so let's start with the banker. Unfortunately, the cyborg plague is also on the moon, and has advanced to the point necromancy is possible. The banker's at the top of the tower, and we get to add a bit of color to his portrait. One down, two more to go. On the way to the second, you meet Chef, and he makes us think that we might have to schedule another spa day. Also, that thing that revived you isn't benevolent. Surprise, surprise, and wants to kill your brother, while it's trying to kill you.
Of course!
One nightmare sequence later, you stab and don't wake up in the way I'm used to. Oh, and you killed your brother instead. Oops. The one who used you comes forward, and you get to pay him back for his kindness. With her brother dead, Chef gets the idea to return the knife where it came from, so let's deliver it to something's face. You find the general next, and sadly the power of a sawn-off double barrel couldn't save him either. One final nightmare sequence, and you finally see what this thing that's been pushing you forward is. Being the worst parts of yourself. Yeah, it's time for a bit of internal spring cleaning. The hulls are clean now, the disease is dead, and she is finally free. You enter the final building, and boy do things ramp up from here. It's the final hour, and they are done holding back. The last target's at the top, and oh, that's the... The fallen engineer is back. He has dreadlocks, and holy shit, he is out for your blood. Before you kill him, he pulls you into the dream, and it's time to rip and tear one more time. You fight through the Foghorn Cafe like in the first game, and then you get this damn cool sequence fighting the chalk drawings of enemies, and I love this. This is so cool. You cut his puppets from his strings, and then you cut him down. Although I guess it's more like smash into the fucking floor. She wonders if this truly is the end, but glad she's free from everything, and now it's time to talk about her brother's story. You follow your sister's quest for vengeance, but there are some changes story-wise. You don't get the nightmare sequences, of course, but when you get to the point she stabs you, you can actually save her. You fight her until he decides to show up, and then you get to take him out while your sister helps you. It is spicier than most of the fights in the game because if you kill her by accident, well, you gotta start over. But it isn't terrible, and yeah, it is worth doing. You reach the fallen engineer again, and you'd think your sister helping you would make this easier, but it can be a visual nightmare at points. The game ends the same way, but she's alive to help you make another planet red if needed. It was wonderful coming back to this, and it just aged like wine. It is exactly as long as it needs to be and has extra modes even after you're beating it. This is an easy recommendation since it's only $10 usually and goes on sale pretty often. Full price was plenty for what you're getting. That's all I got for now. Next time's Pain. Oh lord, it's gonna be Pain. That being said, I promise not Guitar Hero, so here we go.